So I'm here with Alex Lawrence Millia. You are the Global Director of Bars for the Lyan Group.
Something like that, yep.
An old friend, and I haven't sat down with you in fucking years.
And you taught me how to make a shrub on the floor, and it was fucking disgusting. And also the fact that I think they're full of shit half the time. Where the blood bucket is.
Not you specifically, you're very ugly. So I'm here with Alex Lawrence Millia. You are the Global Director of Bars for the Lyan Group.
Something like that, yep.
An old friend, and I haven't sat down with you in fucking years.
You might be the person that I still interact with the most that is the oldest in my life.
Shit, no way. Okay.
Yeah, for real.
I'll take it. But here we are in your restaurant here in Mexico City. I wanted to sit down with you for a while. I don't know how to start because I have all these questions in mind, but me and you just talking now this entire time.
It was very natural.
That's what I mean, right? So
I mean, for context for everyone, Dan was my first mentor as well. And whether you like to admit that or not, I moved to the bar that you were working at. I was working in a pub to learn from you. So like the literal beginning of my career in this part of the industry was you. And you taught me how to make a shrub on the floor. And it was fucking disgusting. You actually managed to get it right about 3 years later in Amsterdam.
Yes, it took a while.
Respect.
Listen, our first lab.
Even a table in a basement.
There's one thing I will say about what you just said, and it makes me feel very, very privileged, because I think that I like the word mentor. Generally speaking, I'll explain why, and it's not to suddenly discount what you just said. Like, I feel very privileged that you're saying this. It means a lot to me. At the same time, I believe because of the way we brought up in Aberdeen, I think a lot of people in Aberdeen were self-made. Like, it's not like we had a bar that was already famous.
But we did have teachers, but they were like of a different generation or mindset or whatnot. But yeah, you were definitely self-made. Mostly because you fucking ignored everyone. When they were like, you should do this, you're like, fuck you, I'm going to do this. Which is inspirational in its own right.
To give you what I give you back is, like, I believe that everything that you've achieved is completely up to your own grit. Because I feel like sometimes the word mentor creates a hierarchy.
There was at the time. I had less of a problem with the word mentor, but I also know what you mean. At that point in my life, I needed guidance. I had no idea what I was doing. And there were some simple things you did. Like, I remember when you did the sugar lime mix. I still do that today. Oh, yeah? Trying to teach people like their understanding of palate.
Right.
And also the fact that I think they're full of shit half the time, because they always pick the driest one because they think it's the coolest.
One of the things I want to talk to you about is you're now going into like this new era of your life, right? I remember you when you had hair. You were in
long ago.
You were in a band. I remember when you were working in a Siberia vodka bar, and you were like doing free shifts as a bar back in Bar 99. Then I remember the London era when you moved down to work in Dandelyan with Nathan, if I'm not mistaken. I remember that, and I remember because we did a bunch of stuff because of Orchid, because of Ben, because of Porter's Gin.
Of course.
We would always like come back and forth. Now you are here in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. You have your own venue, like you're part of a super group, according to the press release.
Pinche super group.
How would you describe those 3 eras?
Oh, I mean, like all of us in our industry, you don't really know why you're in it at the beginning, right? Mm. Then you have a sense of belonging and a sense of curiosity, and they say that like you kind of know who you want to be like when you're very young. You just don't know how to channel it yet, you know? And I've always gravitated towards maybe people and creativity is like the typical one, but then also like teaching and gaining knowledge to pass on and things like that. And like the bar world actually does that very, very well. Even our fundamental, talk about in nightclubs, you learn where the blood bucket is and what the system for doing that, and then you teach the next person.
That's true.
There's a sense of community about it and belonging and duty, and I think I was missing belonging and fitting in from a very young age, and then this industry gave me that. Problem is that I find it very hard to feel satisfied or complete, like in multiple ways due to like being an insecure person and blah 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 blah. Different expectations when I was a child, probably. Every time I transition something, it seems quite quick actually. I mean, like I work for Lyan now, you know, the company, it could be like 10 years this year, which is a good innings.
That's massive.
But like how much shit have we done in those 10 years? You know what I mean?
When you get comfortable, I feel like I stagnate.
Hugely.
Does that make
It's
sense?
no longer stimulating. There's no challenge to it. But then also, I actually really like routine, but I don't like maybe the repetition as much as I used to. So like if I'm comfortable, if I can feel that I'm really competent at something, okay, now we need to change it, or like look at a new thing to bring into this, or I can never just get good at something and just do it, which is really painful actually.
Really? Well, now you're doing Muay Thai.
Well, that saved my life for a bunch of reasons, but yeah, and I'll never get good at that because it takes a lifetime to master that.
I've come to this realization. I can finally feel that my body's getting old. Like there's like shit that I'm like, oh, I got up too fast.
Well, I mean, there was this meme circulating the other day, like about saying that you're still punk as fuck as you do your like organizer for your pills. And you know, I like I have this like quite like brazen attitude, and my appearance is all like, I don't know what it is, right? It's but then yeah, I have like my morning pills, I have my night pills.
You have pills?
Yeah, well, it's not medicine, it's like my vitamins and supplements. Right. I time them, and you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah.
I've come to the realization that I have a face for a podcast. Your Lyan years, it's 10 years at Lyan, right? Fuck me, there's a lot of things that you guys have done. But I feel like there's an element of mysteriousness around you, like as a company.
I think it's my favorite thing in the world is to hear people fill in the gaps that they like we don't communicate. I mean, we get called we're a cult all the time, which I honestly we do.
Have you met Remy Savage?
And I have. Yeah.
There's a cult reader.
I think he states the cult fact though.
I think they're all gonna commit suicide in a massive pact one day. Love you, babe.
Legacy, you know?
Your legacy.
I mean, I do hear like the darndest things about Lyan. I think some of them are good and some of them I'm a bit like, oh.
What's the weirdest shit you've heard?
I remember our younger teams have a problem with like sometimes reinterpreting what Lyan is. And we're actually pretty clear. Like there's a lot of brand training. We have these decks that are like about our values and what we don't do. And they're quite small. And the idea is that everything outside of that you can challenge. I think we communicate well to our teams. It was like year 1 of Silver Lyan in the States. And someone was like, yeah, it's weird that you don't serve coffee. And I was like, what are you talking about? Well, of course we serve coffee, we're a fucking hotel bar. And it turns out they've gone, oh, we don't serve coffee because Ryan doesn't like it. And I was like, excuse me? So someone had interpreted that Ryan doesn't drink coffee.
Okay, whatever.
Who gives a shit? And then someone had interpreted that as this rule that we wouldn't do that because Ryan. So it was almost like the preference of Ryan is what we're amplifying. My thinking, and maybe like sometimes I even have to check Ryan on this. Like Mr Lyan is an entity, and it's not a character or necessarily a persona. Yeah, Ryan is known as Mr Lyan, but Mr Lyan is greater than the sum of all his parts. You know what I mean? So frankly, no one gives a shit if Ryan likes coffee or not. Like we're serving fucking coffee.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just like these weird interpretations of that. I guess that's the problem with having a figurehead that is platformed as Ryan. Do you know what I mean? Like these little interpretations and.
I think the industry is very culty, right? I think like this whole thing.
Super culty, sorry.
Cunty and cunty.
Yeah, it's a culty cunty world.
We're all saying like, oh, it's hard with staff right now and COVID and this. Like everyone seems to have a staff issue, which is fine. But at the same time, there seems to be more and more investment in hospitality than ever before, all over the world. It's blowing up, even though we're going through a fucking recession. Just bars are getting churned out, left, right, and center.
100%, yeah.
And here's what's happening. I'm like, I think a lot of the younger kids who are getting into the game, as in like realizing the cocktail scene or whatever, and the wider community, their driver is 50 best.
Yeah.
Because when they actually get down to the repetition and the daily grind, it's not that much of a glamorous job. So my point is, like, I think that the industry is growing. The 1% cocktail industry is growing, but people are realizing how, not shitty, but it's not easy to come in and for 3 years to be in a room, let alone 10, like Maura, right? So the 50 best thing is like their shining light, like a little like carrot that pushes them to do that thing that they don't like. It's kind of, I get it, right? It's kind of cool. The other end of it is, I get a call from a Mexican bar owner 5 months ago crying because their bar didn't get into North America's 50 best.
That's a shame.
Right? For someone to get in touch with me who I'm not really your friend through Instagram asking for a call and telling me that they're crying and it's an adult human being.
It's really good of you to take that call though.
It's not infrequent. Like this happens a lot.
Guess what that's called? Mentorship.
This person, I took the call, I asked them these things because, you know, what if they're on something? That's why they started to reach out to a complete stranger to have a discussion, right? You know, and I'm like, you have two choices. You can either let this fucking thing eat you alive and you can go and talk about how much you're better than all these other bars and turn into a dick. Or you can use this as a motivation to just carry on being the great bar that you are and then wait your turn or promote better or find a way to do what are you not doing that they're doing that possibly is getting them there, right? I met this person since I've been here the last 3 days. He was like best fucking conversation I ever had, and like I'm just focusing on the team, on the bar, on the contracts and stuff like that.
That's amazing.
But like for me, that was the scary bit about how a rating could, like the idea that a grown bar owner, a grown adult at age 30 plus is having a breakdown of some fucking list. It's scary to me. Does that make sense?
It is, but the power is there, dude.
But how many people are suffering from that aren't reaching out to me? Like, that's just one example, right? How many people possibly it's hurting them?
It's something that we struggle with a lot, with our teams, because there's a sense of validation to it that is irreparable. You can't replicate that feeling of your wider industry saying that, hey, you're one of the best. When you do the sacrifice and the hard work, and maybe like my little cult is telling you that this is how to be the best in our opinion, and then you're not getting recognized for that, you're being torn apart by your public and professional. It's complicated. I suffered immensely. In 2018, I was in a good social standing. I had a good friend group, had a good it was rocky but good relationship, and I was the #1 bar in the world. 2019, I had none of that. All of it was gone in quite a quick period of time. So I'm not saying 50 Best was contributing to my spiral, but I spiraled pretty fucking hard, And at the same time, I was still working on opening 2 bars that year, launching another company. That feeling, the calls stopped coming, the recognition stopped coming within a 2-year period.
Mysteriousness is this, like heaps of mad shit. Atom, the new thing. Magic back in the day. The one thing that, I guess it's just because it's my entire behavior is different. It's about like open source.
We like the clarity.
Well, it's like, what is a ton of organisms? Like, I mean, like, it would be nice to at least once get an explanation of, give me one example of a ton of organisms in action. Does it make sense? Because that's the thing.
Do you want to specifically focus on that example? Because it's a good one to blow out, actually.
To finish the point is, like, it's over the years, there's always been, like, really cool hashtags. And, like, I like heaps of mad shit. It's great. Then show me the mad shit. Like, because I feel like you guys do really good documentary videos. Sometimes it still feels I don't really fully understand what is actually going on.
We're also not speaking to you. All of this stuff is about engaging with the guest. It's softening a lot of the language that is, I still see on bars in America like citric acid and simple syrup and pointless descriptors. Pointless. Some places legally you have to write descriptors, that's different. Like even here you're supposed to write the milliliters of the cocktails, which is a nightmare given the fact that some of my measurements are like 1.25 or 0.6. So I just write the total and just hope that that's enough. If you can be curious enough to ask us, we can then engage with you. And then we'll have the teams trained on layers of information. We call them 3-2-1s. Crudely called layers of giving a shit by me. Some people say 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever you want to say. But if you're clearly just like, you and I are having a conversation, I don't want to engage with the server, they'll maybe give you the 1. This is this train, done, and get the fuck out of there. Maybe 2 is it the story where you don't need any prerequisite ingredient knowledge or technique. Maybe 3 is the full-blown, I'm going to tell you what Atom is now, right? Allowing us to do as complicated stuff as we possibly want to, not can, but want to, but then really trying to think about the guest experience. Now, if I was to say like compounded and isolated esters to you, you might be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, it's magic. What we do creatively in a nutshell is try and make everything very democratic at the beginning so that everyone can participate. So you don't need any drinks knowledge, ingredient knowledge, nothing. So at Lyaness, they'll pick a story, and that particular story could have come from the bar back, the head bartender, it doesn't matter, because it's just a story that's interesting.
The Lyan company is a house with a garden.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I live in Barcelona, and I'm looking over the fence, and your garden's looking fucking awesome, and you're lovely, and we say hi to each other every day. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yo, well, that's a cool thing. What are you growing there? A different way. I'm like looking and you're growing a nice flower.
Yeah.
And everyone around is also looking, that's a cool fucking flower that you've got there. And then you're going, hey, we're using a ton of organisms to grow this flower. Like, oh, that's cool. Well, what is it?
Everything you're saying makes sense. Loads. I'm curious about where is the communication stopping, and therefore people are frustrated by it. Where is it stopping? Because if you go in the bar and you ask, you'll get as much information as you possibly want, and we'll package it in a way that feels layered, right?
I'll give you an example specifically with Atom.
I love this example. I'm going to tell you what it is after this.
I'm sitting in, I'm going to send to the bartender.
Because you said Atom 100 fucking times and we still haven't told it.
To the bartender in Thailand who asked me this question. This is
Thailand?
For you. In Bangkok. I'm sitting in a bar called Messenger Bar in Bangkok. I interrupted someone else's conversation because your name was brought up. But there was 2 young bartenders kind of fanboying about Lyaness and Mr Lyan and the group.
That's really nice.
2 bartenders in Messenger Bar, 1 a.m. talking, we're all sitting around, and I'm like, oh, cool, I know those guys. Alex is an old friend. They're like, oh, no way, have you been in the bar? I'm like, yeah. Because they don't have the money to travel to London, and they're too scared to get, like, sometimes when you have a name, they're scared to approach you. They're scared to message you. They're not.
An arresting furious face.
That does not help, when you look like you're a fucking extra on Trainspotting. My point is, they're fanboying. I interrupt them and say I know them. They're like, cool, we were just watching this video about this thing called Atom. We're like, do you know what the fuck that is? I'm like, and I did say, I'm like, I can find out. They're like, yeah, but it was like a ton of microorganisms with this, that, like, and there's no information. They were trying to like find it through the website, and they felt like, fuck, Bangkok sucks. We don't have this stuff, and I can't find.
Of course they do.
They can't find any more information. They don't feel comfortable messaging the bar or Ryan, obviously. And
which is a shame.
That's a whole different discussion about.
That's also not my responsibility.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not. So they're like, that's the mysteriousness of the company, right? The only reason that mysterious exists is because the company is, in some way or form, a very big part of the cocktail bar industry, right?
Yeah.
I've been to a flavor company in the south of France that does cooler shit that I've ever seen any fucking company do.
Well, that's what we refer to as magic,
right? And there's fucking scientists there that look at a tomato and I'm like sitting there going like, I don't know shit about flavor extraction.
Yeah.
These are
it's humbling, isn't
these are the real pros.
Yeah.
But their job is developing products on this
commercial scale.
Yeah, right. And they're multi-million dollar companies.
Yeah.
They don't do videos. We weren't allowed to have our phones.
Yeah, it's very secretive.
Right? And so
we called them magics because we're not allowed to. At the time, I still can't say the company at the time, but at the time we were not paying for any of our magics because we were told use them. And bear in mind, a bottle like this will last you a whole menu.
Yeah.
Because they're like these crazy concentrated things. All they wanted back was like the R&D side of it. That was it, But it was lock and key.
That's their business.
Yeah.
I don't have any right to go, well, you tell me what the fuck this is, right?
Yeah.
Where if you're kind of, I guess, in the community spotlights.
This is insight for me. No one has ever told me, hey, I'm confused about Atom, or I wanted to know more and it felt like you weren't communicating. I spend most of my time with our teams softening the intensity in order to like make it human. Both for like the newer teams that are coming up.
Yeah.
Like I don't expect someone to start, like maybe they've had a couple of jobs in the industry or whatever and they come and work at one of the bars, and I don't expect them to be like, oh yeah, I understand all of the enzymatic action of a fucking Amazake. We don't need that. So we need to be careful and cautious. And Atom, for example, let me tell you what it is, just for a start.
Okay, let's explain what the fuck Atom is.
Right, Atom stands for a ton of microorganisms. Why were we talking about that? The drink story that we had basically looked at was the Red Forest outside of Chernobyl.
What a tangent.
I can't even, do you know what? I can't even fucking remember. I think we were studying ancestry as a topic. Chernobyl happened, not good. Lots of things died. Microorganisms have started to come back in the Red Forest in this like ludicrous way. And this like variance of life, and life finds a way, basically is the story. How the fuck do you represent that in a drink? Because our creative process in an oversimplified way is topic, find the stories, extract flavor directions from the stories, make mise en place to extract those flavors, make cocktails. That's it in a nutshell. That's our creative process in the concept bars. Seed Library is a little different, but Super, Lyaness and Silver all operate in the same way. I can remember it very clearly. I was like, well, how do we make the flavor of a ton of microorganisms? And Adrian went away. Adrian, who's like our kind of head of creative prep, he basically did a cascade of fermentations over a 5-day period, right? So he was introducing different lactobacillus, forms, different yeasts, and then microwaved the whole lot at the end. And what he did was transform just like a basic fruit mix into this extremely deep, delicious, not funky, just like really intense, loads of more flavor. It's just, that's what fermentation does. It unlocks so many things, and it can be a precursor to other things, etc. It's an interesting thing, but I still think most fermentation tastes like mold.
I don't like
it's
mold.
hard. It's hard to do really well. Communicating all of that in a second that feels lighthearted is difficult, so we just call it Atom. The two bartenders who you were speaking to at 1 a.m. in Bangkok, I'd love to sit and have that conversation with them. But I don't want to have that conversation with a guest.
No, I understand that.
And
because I only live in the on-trade.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
That's fair, but this is what I'm saying. This is why I was like, I'm not speaking to you.
And this is why I'm telling you that, giving you golden feedback, that the on-trade loves you, but that you're like a hot person in the room that they don't know how to approach.
I mean, that's the first time anyone's ever said that about me.
Not you specifically, you're very ugly. Just did an article in Drinks International about BCB.
BCB London.
BCB London.
How was it?
It was fine. It was okay.
God, that was like last week or something, though.
Yeah, it was not long ago. But basically, everyone's bitching about the fact that it was £100 a ticket. And of course, they caved and they end up giving a shit ton of tickets for free. The price of BCB Berlin is about the same price as BCB London. The amount of people that flew outside of the UK to come to London to go to BCB still paid for a ticket from other countries around Europe, whilst UK bartenders bitched and fucking moaned because the invite was free and all they wanted to do was get fucking hammered. Right? I believe the UK, one way or another, is going to get left behind as the industry everywhere else is going to keep moving forward in their own path. And I'm not saying it's going to happen today or tomorrow. I still think London has some of the best bars in the world. But there's an element of an attitude. Oh, life is so bad. We're not getting paid enough, blah, 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 blah. And then you've got someone coming from Greece who goes on a quarter of your fucking salary, who'll save for 10 months just to come and visit. And you know what I mean?
I don't think anyone should have to do things the hard way. I don't think you should have to go through a hard time to get where you want to be. There is no example where you achieve brilliant things without painful process. You know, the sacrifice, the endurance. Like the simplest one is like, you want to lose weight, it fucking hurts. And it takes a long fucking time. But then you get there, and you got there, and you're really proud of your achievement, and you learned a lot of lessons on the way, and it's not linear, it's up and down, and blah, blah, blah. That's what a career should be, you know? But the point is, the ones that are getting into it right now, particularly in London, and I'm not speaking necessarily about our team, I'm very lucky at Lyan, like we have some really dedicated individuals who do work hard and are passionate, but it's like I want to work 4 days and get paid, you know, £60,000 a year or whatever it is, right? And then what? What next? So you've got the balance of your life that you're happy with. What now? But I am just curious, can someone answer me the question, what are you going to do when you have this thing that you're asking for? This perfect balance of wage, opportunity, free time, like what are you going to do? Is that going to be an accelerant in the direction that you want? Or are you going to get there and now you're completely satisfied?
Well, I don't think there's no such thing as complete satisfaction. If I'm going to be a bit of a fucking romance novelist about this, the famous quote from Oscar Wilde is, there's only 2 tragedies in life. It's never achieving your dreams and achieving your dreams.
Yes.
Right? I feel like nowadays everyone wants a crusade that they know they're never gonna fucking win. They pick a problem that is unsolvable, but then they have a flag that they can wave. It's just, oh, I'm trying to fix this.
Yeah.
How? Where's the practical? I want work-life balance. What the fuck does that mean? Explain it to me.
For me, work-life balance is that you have several cups that you need to keep full. Social life, health, work, whatever. And it's about going, where are my cups right now? What's the priority? You know, like my health is bad. I need to invest a lot of time in my health. Cool. So I need to do less socializing, or I need to be more conscious about the amount of work I'm taking on so I can solve this thing. But like trying to do all 3 at the same time, this is unreasonable. This is like a very immature, oversimplified strategy towards having everything. And the truth about life is you can't have everything. There's always a trade-off, and that's just the equilibrium of literally everything, you know? I'm just so curious for a lot of these younger people, and it's cool because I watch actually people come in at a line level, progress into management, and then they start to have more of a perspective about imbalance. I'm not talking about working 70-hour weeks or any of that shit. I'm talking about like, what can you do well right now, and what are you not going to be able to do well? And then at what point do we need to shift this? And we have to go through these phases and whatnot. But at the bottom end, the bartender that started yesterday that says 4 days, 100 grand a year, 10-hour shifts, I want these conditions. Okay, say we get there. Now what? Because you're never going to be a senior bartender or a head bartender, and not because of the time you put in, but you're never going to be exceptional because you're just flat. And that sucks. Competency and balance doesn't create progression. And it's shit, man.
And so now, with here or maybe Lyan, what would be the ethos based on what you just said? Like, are you just focused on the time? Are you focused on the money?
As a business or as a person?
As a business, maybe, I guess, because now you're a business builder, realistically.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to feel like I spend more time talking about business than I do about anything else, which is okay. That's part of it.
But I think this is very interesting because I think everyone who I speak to who is now on a business buildery level kind of thing, the things they're focused on is very different. And I find that much more interesting. Like, for example, I don't know if you know this, but the Lyan group was very, very influential for Stefano Catino from Maybe Sammy.
I had no idea, no.
Yeah.
That's a huge compliment.
But when you read a fucking book, it's already 2 years in the making. When we talk about hindsight and shit that happened back then, it's in the past. I'm more interested in like where you are now. You're a curious person, so Where are you going now? What's like? I'm more interested to see what the dark, furious face of Lyan is into now.
We have a new project which I can't talk about. I'll tell you off camera. So getting our shit together.
Non-mysterious at all.
You know, well, we're doing another bar. That's all I can say. For me personally, I'm focusing on. So obviously, I live in Mexico. There's no Lyan bars in Mexico. Setting up a Rigi is much more intensive, and I think a lot of it's about figuring out the business, figuring out the culture. Like it's really like back to basically being irrelevant and zero knowledge of anything, which is cool as a thing. So we're just trying to figure out how to run a restaurant. I've never worked in a restaurant in my life, so that's interesting. So that's quite linear. That's quite straightforward here. A lot of challenges. Lyan is more like, you know, we're 12 years old now. We've done a lot in those 12 years. I spend an hour a month with each of our leadership doing like mentorship. So they're just like making sure that our philosophy and we're troubleshooting in a holistic way outside of operations and stuff. That's a lot of my day-to-day time, shall we say. Obviously there's marketing, creative strategy, drinks, whatever, all that stuff is there. I'm really fundamentally questioning what's next for our company. You know, like we are a super successful company. We don't make a lot of revenue, you know, like it's our partners that take the lion's share of that, which makes sense, you know, they take all the risk as well. So I think a lot of people think Ryan and I are walking around with like a big fat checkbook, but like it's not the case. If I'm truly honest, I would like to see how we can further monetize our skill set and our reach in order to grow this into a more significant business, in order to be able to do more of the cool shit that we're at. Because I feel like we're peaking. Like all the partners that I want to work with or like, you know, gain insight into, like we've done it, you know, like we worked with 3 Michelin star restaurants and blah, 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 and all these like crazy people and the best in the world at their field. So that's amazing to have achieved this in the creative sphere. It would be interesting to see how can we further grow specifically as a business. I'd like to start making enough cash to be like very generous in my personal life, but very generous in our professional life as well. I feel like businesses' expenses are always so like scrutinized, probably rightly so, you know, but like I don't know, I was thinking the other day about, had a conversation with our managers who's having like a real like tough shift in perspective, you know, and I think has struggled a lot with how to ask for what they want of their team, you know. Great conversation. And these are the conversations that I show up to work for, right? And all I could think to myself is like, I know exactly who I think I should send you to work there for a week, and how much that will rub off on you and like solve your fucking problem. Problem is, it's a flight across the Atlantic and like a week of their time. No business is going to pay that right now, you know what I mean? But I'd love to be like, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to do it.
Using that as an example, but not homing in the person, but that location.
Yeah.
What is that location that you'd love to send someone to?
I love this project, by the way. They're the fucking coolest. We helped out kind of re-strategize a bar called After in Chicago. And After is the direct attachment to a restaurant called Ever, which is a 2 Michelin star, probably 3 soon, Curtis Duffy restaurant. You watch The Bear?
Yes.
You know the fancy restaurant they film in?
Yes.
That's it. And Curtis did all the food direction, and I think that community heavily inspired the show. I fucking love The Bear because a lot of it feels very relatable, and also they have this story arc that seems to follow my life.
And so for you, in your position with your new, like much wider breadth of knowledge, where are some of the most interesting companies, operations that you like shout out to these people that you've worked with, individuals or bars or restaurants or whatever, branding companies?
I mean, if you want to look at good branding, because like, for example, this is one of the things that is our huge advantage in Lyan, and something that I've brought here. We have a fantastic local designer here, Diana. We're working with like budgets suitable for market. But if you look at Magpie Studio in London, right? That's how you create a brand. Go and explore like what that actually means to you. You'll understand the power of design. That's how we appear so strong in so many ways. It's like our branding and design. Like you can write whatever you want on a piece of paper, but it's how it looks and makes you feel and how it fits in a space. And I think branding, marketing, and PR are all skill sets that you need to work on if you want to be successful in the industry. I think your attitude should be the thing that you take from other people, not what they're doing, why they're doing it.
What are some of the things that are happening in the industry that grind your gears or you're not a big fan of?
I mean, there's obviously a lot, but like your basic stuff, like I think like we're quite monotonous with like our stylings on drinks and things like that at the moment. So I'm not so excited to like visit someone's program as often as I used to be. That also comes with like experience and like cynicism, right? But like clarified drink, block ice, minimal garnish, like that's in my own bars as well, you know? So I'm frustrated about the monotony of everything. And also frustrated that everyone says like my way is the best way. Classics are the only way, or you must do innovation, or, you know, it used to be like all gravy. We used to like, oh, I like this bar for this, and we were all like kind of a bit softer community. Now there seems to be this like us versus them all the time, and that's a cult and this isn't a cult, and it's like competitive. Like, why? It doesn't benefit anyone. There's no benefit, it's just anger. But I think it's like frustration redirected, you know, but that's a whole other subject. I don't know, obviously the politics of the bar industry is pretty sad at the moment, and I think we're not interpreting the effect that that has on young people. When you and I started bartending, it was so far away to think about Tales of the Cocktail or 50 best bars. We wanted to be the best at what we did on like a daily basis. Yeah. That was the priority, and consequently we then had careers that did actually reinforce that point.
We just wanted to do cool shit. Like when you heard some cool shit was happening, you wanted to do it. I remember like spending literally 500 quid when I only earned 800 pounds a month on that fucking dumb barrel that I bought because Jeffrey Morgenthaler did a blog post about barrels.
100%.
And it was 350 quid to get a 5-liter fucking barrel from the US, and there was 120 quid on top of that for customs.
Yeah.
When I only made 800 quid in a month on $6.95 an hour.
I didn't even know it was that much.
I didn't fucking want to tell anybody that I was that stupid, and it hurt so much.
And the best part about it was all the drinks that came out of it were terrible.
Yeah, I ruined it by putting Malibu in it for the fucking tiki off.
Oh yeah.
Fucking barrel-aged Malibu for
I remember Ryan Rhodes and I trying to char a barrel, obviously with very little knowledge about what that means, by putting overproof rum and lighting it through the like tiny hole. And it essentially started making this groaning noise, sounded like a bomb. Ooh. Remember how Orchid had no one from 6 p.m. till midnight? Yeah. So from there, we're just blowing shit up. It was awesome.
I'm trying to think, is it my age that I'm different? Or am I posturing? Am I a sociopath? I'm having all these internal chats because the one thing I'm finding more and more is loneliness.
You personally, or you're perceiving it?
Me personally within the industry. Sitting in front of a camera and doing content is lonely in itself.
Hugely.
But the other loneliness is also like the mindset is lonely. I'm feeling a lonely mindset because the things that the people that's driving people nowadays is just so different from the way we grew up. Like you said, it baffles me. I don't know what the answer is, but it's just
I'm lost, man. Like, this is the thing. I think a lot of people ask me quite broad questions. I've never felt more confused or alone in my life, you know, when it comes to our industry.
That's why I do the things that I do. Hopefully that will hopefully bring in, there'll be a Dan somewhere that will see that and might be curious enough to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what you're doing is like, it's inspirational stuff, and we need more of this. And we need more honesty, because I mean, if I was to give you one more point about it, it's like everyone is so fucking sunshine and rainbows because we're all like branded and designed up to the gills on social media to present this like false thing. But like, we leave no room for error or weakness or mistake, or, you know, and that can be like pretty detrimental to one's career because mistakes happen, you need to evolve from them. That can be very heavy. We're also fucking scared of getting it wrong. You were unique, I remember, because you didn't give a fuck when we started. You were doing competitions that were outrageous. Some of the things you used to do back in the day, like you would get cancelled immediately today for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like the controversy that I'm talking about, but you weren't afraid to just put yourself out there and have fun with it. We have like 21-year-olds who are expected to be like world-class bartenders or professionals in this way, and they put all this pressure on themselves to be like so refined and so perfect. And I'm like, why is our industry not allowing people to just be shit for a bit?
Well, that also, I feel like, why is nobody allowed to have fun anymore? Why is nobody having fun anymore? I get so bored.
Why did you get into the industry? Like, why specifically just bars? Like, what was the thing that...
It was fun. It looked fun.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was so cool.
They looked cool and they were having fun. What is the best thing about bartending?
The best thing about the bartending and our industry is the fact that we don't fit in, but we have purpose. That we can grow young people that don't follow the linear templates of the rest of society. And our industry is so young that we have a million different directions that they can go in, and we can grow your passion, we can grow your interest, we can specialize you, but there's no roadmap, and there's not very many other industries that can do that. You can get creatively expressive once you've like cooked for 10 years or whatever, sure, but our dynamic approach to drinks, hospitality, service, creativity, team dynamic, education. Name another industry where there's a parallel like that. Maybe there's some people coming in our industry who are trying to follow templates now. Maybe that's the fucking problem. But we are all especially our generation. Misfits, outcasts, we didn't fit in. We tried to do one thing, we fell into this. Like, isn't that beautiful? Like, I love it. I've traveled the world. I've done insane things and earned good money, and I live in fucking Mexico because I put booze in a glass for a living. That is wild, dude, you know? Whilst if I'd stayed at university and finished my psychology degree, maybe I would have got a good job. I feel like I'm a fucking therapist these days anyway, but I'd probably still live in Scotland.
And what is the worst thing about bartending or the industry?
We haven't figured out how to like manage our egos, probably, is the hardest thing. And that's young people, old people, experienced, not experienced. We're meant to be about unifying people fundamentally. And I'm not talking about the sleazy old stereotype of introducing people at a bar or whatever. I just mean like we're there to like provide a shared experience on a daily basis. And for some reason we've created more divide, more comparison than I could ever have thought possible. I no longer feel like we celebrate each other. We're mostly just comparing. There's more lists than we ever need, and awards and division and filters, and like we've lost maybe the purity. But the more that we're gonna do that, the more that people are just gonna follow linear templates, and that's where it ends, man. Or that's where it stabilizes.
And that's it.
Pleasure.
That's it.
Good. We didn't talk about Muay Thai once, guys.